from Stephen Avery Project, Justice with Jax, and MAM Gossip on Facebook. We are live today to talk about the Alec. I hear family calling him Alec, but it's always spelled with an X. So I'm just gonna say Alex, but Alec. Hey, Bryce. So we're going to talk about the Alex Murdaugh trial today. What you probably know, if you've been following it, is he was found guilty, and hey, Ashley, it was within 3 hours of the case ending. The jury came back with a guilty verdict. I have posted on the Justice with Jack's Facebook page. There's one juror that I've seen so far, sup cat. One juror I saw so far that was on like Good Morning America or something today. They only showed a small little bit of what that, and it was a guy. I had heard before that most of the jury was female, but this was a guy, and he said when they reported back to the jury room, it was 9 guilty, 2 not guilty, and 1 didn't know. One was unsure. And he said within 45 minutes they had their all guilty. And said basically it just comes down to they didn't believe a single thing that Alex had to say. And I know I posted this article today too, that Alex attorneys have said that they're going to file an appeal. Of course, we all know how this works. And what they're going to use to try and get an appeal is the judge allowing all his other crimes to be heard in the courtroom. So all the money stolen. But he wasn't the jury didn't convict him on that. The jury convicted him because he testified, and every lawyer tells you they do not want you testifying. Shut up. Don't say anything. That's what lawyers say. Us, the watchers, I know for me personally, it's always, well, I want to speak. If it was my case, I would want to speak. And for the average layperson watching, they're like, why wouldn't that person speak? It looks shady that they didn't. But this is how you get yourself into trouble. Don't testify on your own behalf. And you shouldn't be looked at as guilty if you don't testify. Just like when they bring you in for questioning and they try to make you uncomfortable, don't ask for an attorney because you're going to look guilty. If you ask for an attorney, you have to ask for an attorney. So if you're advised not to speak out on your own behalf, you should listen, because hopefully you've been able to get a good attorney who truly cares about your case and is going to tell you what you should really do or not do. My opinion on the Alex Murdaugh case. Oh, and make sure you like and subscribe this, whether you're watching it now live or later on the replay. So, because I don't go live at set times, so maybe hopefully you'd get notified of when I go live. Christopher makes events and posts about it on Facebook, but I know not everybody's on Facebook, and so maybe you'll get notified if you click the like and subscribe here. My opinion on the case. Alex is guilty. How did he do it and why did he do it? I don't know. I can't say that I don't care. Obviously, I care. I would, like to know. But unless Alex tells us, we're not going to know. I was talking with Christopher about this the other day, and I feel the same way as I do with Bobby Dassey in the Stephen Avery case. I know Bobby Dassey is responsible for whatever happened to Teresa Halbach. How he did it and why he did it, I don't know. I don't have to know to think he's guilty and that he should go to prison for it. Same with Alex Murdaugh. I'm I am thrown by the 2 different guns being used. So, was Alex with somebody else? It wouldn't be a shock if he was, since he hired that one dude to shoot him, so he wouldn't kill himself, he would die. So, Buster, oh, t I gotta tell you, watch now I didn't watch all of the trial, but all of it that I did watch, I was so annoyed hearing him go, "Mags and Pawpaw." Um, you weren't endearing yourself, at least to me, you weren't, by using these nicknames for them in court. It didn't make me feel like you really loved them and would never do anything to hurt them because 'cause you're calling them Mags and Pawpaw. Um, but he hired a dude to kill him so Buster, another nickname, could inherit the life insurance. So it wouldn't be surprising if he hired 1 or 2 people, because there's a chance, I guess, that Alex wasn't even there or that Alex is not one of the people who pulled the trigger. But in my opinion, bottom line is he's responsible for their deaths and absolutely should go to prison for it. I don't think a trial has to tell you every step of the way of what happened in a crime in order for somebody to be convicted. Thumbs up, Nana. Thank you. And oh man. Um the science, the facts, the evidence overwhelmingly points to Alex Murdaugh. He lied from the get-go. You can't use the excuse that, "Oh, I'm a pillhead and I didn't trust police, so that's why I lied and said I wasn't there." The bitch had a frickin' not 1 badge, 2 badges, and had blue lights installed on his personal vehicle. He thought he was the police. He thought the police were his BFFs. He's not scared of the police. He wasn't scared of anybody except now the creditors come and call him, and that he's was being busted for all the money he stole and for Pawpaw killing Mallory Beach. That's all that scared him. That's why that family has been able to, I don't know, for their whole existence, to just murder people that they wanted to, whatever, and nobody did anything about it. Even look at the boat film where you see Mallory Beach's, or I don't know if you see, I think you only hear his voice at that time when the kid is pissed off at Paul. "Why are you smiling, man? My girlfriend is gone. Mallory is gone." And then he says to the police, "Do you know Alex Murdaugh? That's his son. Good luck." Because it's just known this family gets away with everything. Cat, I believe Buster and possibly Paul together killed that gay boy. Why? Don't know. I've heard the rumors of maybe there was a relationship one of the brothers had with the gay boy and then, didn't want that to come out or whatever. Or maybe they're just homophobic idiots. I don't know. But I do believe they killed that boy. And the science and the evidence goes to show that the boy was not hit by a car. He was beat to death. And then the scene was staged to try and make it look like he had run out of gas, and then somebody hit him as he was walking alongside the road. But I believe those boys, boy and or boys, killed that poor kid. I believe somebody in that family is responsible for the housekeeper's death. So, I don't know, does anybody know, has it been announced? Oh my gosh, Ashley, really? It's 4 years today? Um, has it been announced when they're exhuming the caretaker's body? That the story that was told is she just tripped over some dogs and died? And then that woman's got 2 kids, right? And one of them is, developmentally challenged, and so here's Alec Murdaugh to the rescue to tell them, "I can't just pay you, you have to sue me for my insurance company to pay you," and then they never get any money because Alex steals it all. I heard that the jury going to the house, and I'm annoyed by the house having a name, and I'm not gonna call it by the name of the house, their house. Um, the jury going to the crime scene is what also helped convict him, because and I say this all the time, even, like, with the Stephen Avery case and such, I'm like, "Go to the scene and go look," because and why I got the trespassing ticket for wanting to show you as the crow flies just how close Cuss Road is to the salvage yard. Me just telling that to you or you seeing a picture or whatever doesn't do it justice than seeing it with your own eyes, and they said that the defense has really made it seem like Maggie and Paul were found closer together than they actually were. And so it does make more sense because it's really only thing that really hangs me up in this case is the two different guns used. And so now when you see really how far apart they were, and it is said that Maggie was shot and had taken 2 steps towards Paul. So she wasn't going away from the scene. She was going to where her son had just been shot, going that way. Um so there there was enough time in that, and Paul was shot twice with his brain completely blown out of his head, which is just crazy to me. I know you hear about it, somebody blowing their brains out, but this literally the kid's brain came out of the right side of his head and landed on the ground, mostly intact. And Maggie was shot 5 times. So, but now when you see how far apart they were, Paul is shot twice, and if you've got 2 guns, and you've got that, it's slinged over your shoulder, you could shoot Paul twice, drop that gun, pick up the one that was slinged, and now shoot Maggie 5 times. Um, so it was actually going to the crime scene that helped a lot of the jurors. This is just a bad family, I think. I actually have a friend and I actually have a friend, like, that's the big shocking thing. I actually have a friend who's from that area. She lives here, now, but she lived most of her life in that area, and so she says she knows the Beach family very well, and so I said to her, I'm like, "Oh my god, I should have you come on one of these live videos and talk about it since she's, from there and knows the whole scene there." So stay tuned for that if, I ever have my friend Andy come over and talk about it. Um, but this is a family who's been above the law forever, literally, becoming the law. I didn't know what a solicitor was until this case. I mean, I've always heard the word solicitor, but I've never paid attention to what it was. So, um, so it's a district attorney. basically, but instead of being elected or whatever, it just you can just buy your way in and then hand it down to family. And for this douche to be driving around with blue lights on his car, whether you're a solicitor, district attorney, whatever, you don't need blue lights on your car. It's just that's that's crazy to me, and that's abusing, um, your privileges, I don't know. Um, and then after the boat crash, he's using that badge to get into the rooms of all these kids and trying to get these kids to say that Paul wasn't driving. Paul was driving. It was clear that Paul was driving the boat. And you see from all the other videos, um, from that day of Paul using his older brother's ID so he could, legally buy alcohol, and bringing the alcohol to the truck and, raising him up to, "Look at me, I'm so cool." Um, you can see in that other video of the dock when they were going to the oyster roast, is that what that was called? Um, you could see him stumbling as he was walking, that he, is clearly sloppy drunk, and this is just a kid raised in privilege. I think he's a bully. Well, now he's dead. Um, I think absolutely he's driving that boat, and, some of the other people tried at some point to take the steering wheel away from him, but it didn't work, and he crashed the boat, and due to his negligence, Mallory Beach was killed. Absolutely is Paul's fault, and the Murdaugh family needs to pay the Beach family, and also needs to pay all the other kids that were on that boat who are gonna be traumatized for the rest of their lives. You have Alec instantly lying, saying he wasn't there and that he was at his mom's house, and you have the mom's caretaker testify that Paul came in there carrying what she said was a blue tarp, and that he then brought it upstairs, and she doesn't go upstairs. In the I don't know how many years she said she's worked there. I wanna say 4 years. She's been upstairs twice. So, he took that blue tarp-like item and brought it upstairs. And then when he left, he no longer had the blue tarp. Was the blue tarp a raincoat? Was it a blue tarp? Was there a gun in there? Was there bloody clothes in there? Don't know. We may never know. But we also have her testimony that he was wearing completely different clothes, and clothes that we see him in earlier video wearing, than what he's wearing when he discovered the bodies. And then we know that from the lab testing, there was gunshot residue in that blue tarp on Paul's hands, on his seatbelt of his truck, of Alex. If I said Paul, I meant Alex. So he had GSR. And the only reason he came forward just last week, or this week, last week, to now say he was there is because of Paul doing the TikTok video that you clearly hear that Alex was there within 5-10 minutes of when they assumed, Maggie and Paul were murdered. So, no matter what his story of, "I was home sleeping, I had left," you were there, because how far away did the mother live from him? It was like a 45-minute drive or something, right? Um, and you he w there's no way he's off the property at the time all these shots are being fired. He would have heard them, 'cause, I was sleeping. You're not getting to the house and being in a deep sleep within 10 minutes that you're not gonna hear, a shotgun and a rifle going off on your property. I know that they are hunters and they had these 1,700 acres and regularly hunted on their property, but this is not out in the woods. I you would hear that and go, "What's going on?" Because you knew that Paul and Maggie were down with the dogs. So, it's not them shooting, or if you think maybe it is them shooting, "Oh my god, what's happening? Did something come and attack the dogs or something?" So if you're truly innocent, you would have heard the guns being fired, and then you would have gone to investigate. They have a house full of guns. But because of this TikTok video, he's now busted and came up with yet another story. "Oh, I'm a pillhead and I didn't trust the police, so that's why I lied." Mm-mm, mm-mm. His ego made it impossible for him to be afraid of the police and to not trust the police. He felt he owned the police like he did everybody in that town. And then it's been amazing the, following the cell phones, just everything the cell phone is able they're able to find on that, of just knowing that the phone had been asleep and now the phone's moving. And then checking, Alex's car, that they're able to know how fast he was driving and all that. It's the guy is so busted. He was racing back there to try and make it so time frame would be in such a way that there would be no way he could have gotten back in that time from his mom's to have killed them. I disagree with you, Kane. He's not innocent. I I believe that he is guilty. How exactly he did it and why, we do not know and won't know until he talks. I believe at some point he's going to talk. Whether or not it's just for his own vanity that he'll talk, or he's going to talk to somebody in prison and be bragging about it, trying to get his status in prison, and, those people will snitch. So, I don't know when that'll be, but I think he'll talk. So, um, yeah, the Murdaughs had so many enemies, and they should. They should have had enemies. They're horrible people who are killing people left and right and stealing their money. So, I could totally understand having people not like that family. You killed what's his name? Stephen Smith? Stephen Smith, the caretaker, I can't remember her name. Mallory Beach and Paul and Maggie. Murdaugh family is responsible for all those deaths. How many more are there? Right, Kat? I mean, maybe he'll wait and see if he's able to get a new trial, um, but the guy hired somebody to kill him. So, he knows his time is up. I just posted too before this, um, that so he did something else scummy. So he put the house in his wife's name in 2015, to try and prevent people from able to get money from him. So now with the wife dying, he inherits it. Um, but since he's now found guilty, the so all of Maggie's assets that they said was 4 point something million dollars will be divided, between the, Beach family and Buster, and then there was one other that it gets divided that gets some. So, Kane, I think they showed that he did have time by using how fast he was going, and also we know from the TikTok video he was there 5 or 10 minutes before they were killed. So, he was there. And then he tried to get his mom's caretaker to lie, because she said he was only there 20, 30 minutes. She also said it was rare for him to come in an evening, that he didn't ever do that. And he tried to get her to say that he was there for 45 minutes, not 20 minutes. And it reminded me of when he was going in the hospital rooms of all the victims of Paul's boat crash and saying, "You don't have to say Paul was driving." So, he's doing damage control, covering up for the Murdaugh family crimes. And I'll be seeing the friend of mine that used to live there. I'll be seeing her on Sunday. Um, so I'm gonna totally pick her brain on what rumors and everything there have been over the years of the area with the Murdaugh family, because it was, what was it? Alex's great-grandfather's picture was hanging in the courtroom that they had to take down for this case. So, how much has been going on there? Then you had during trial, Buster in court giving the finger to, one of the people testifying. Again, showing that these people are just punks. So to where now Buster had to be told he could no longer sit, near the front, he had to sit toward the back, or not toward the back, he just had to sit a couple rows back, and if he did it again, he wouldn't be able to be in there. And then Alex's sister passed him contraband. "Oh, it was just a book." I can't bring books in when I go visit Melissa in the prison. I I cannot bring pictures to give to Melissa, I have to mail them. You think in a courtroom you can hand him a book. No, again, the family thinking they're above the law and can do whatever they want. Jay says he will never tell anytime soon. He might write a book, but not release until the end of his life. If he does it now, he will lose what few family and friends he has left. Yeah. Well, and what's the law too? Is that the son of Sam law? Is that what that's called? Where you're not supposed to be able to profit off of your crimes? But I don't understand how that all works, because I know that Stephen and Brendan were paid for making a murderer. They weren't paid what they deserved, especially the first one. Um, but they were paid for it. Um, so I don't know what the rules on that is. But I just think Alex's ego is so big that he's gonna talk whether or not he wants to go on TV, or he just talks in the prison. So, um, or if he's able to work out a way that he does profit. Maybe he would do some if he's gonna hire somebody to shoot him to benefit Buster, maybe he would do a jailhouse interview that Buster got paid for. Could. And, a thing that I was reading today too was saying that Maggie didn't even live at that house anymore, that Maggie never wanted to live at that house. She didn't like being out in the boonies. They had 3 houses, and so she was staying at one of their other houses because like, they had 2 houses on 2 different private islands in that area too, and so she preferred to be in a house that was right there on water with a dock that went right to the water, which I would like that too. So, that's where she was living, and, that they were going to be getting divorced, and she wasn't even going to be at that house that day, but that, Alec had texted her and said something about, um, Paul being upset or whatever, and that it would be good if they had dinner together as a family, and then it said too that she really only went to that house to go visit her 2 boys. And the boys, when they were there, um, they like hunting and whatever, so that's the house they went to. I don't know really anything about Maggie and what she was like as a person. I don't know if any of you all know any of the history on Maggie, um, but her husband and sons, not good people, so 'cause Paul killed 1, maybe 2 people, maybe 3. Maybe the boys are the ones that did something to the housekeeper. We don't know. Really wanna know when they're going to exhume her and we'll hear about that case. But that's, but that's my thoughts on that case. Um, what does Jay say? The roadside incident was never a suicide. Why right. Oh my god, I'm having all these pop-ups coming up all of a sudden on my thing. Why would you stab your tire? Get off. Yep, all about sympathy. Mhm. It was none of it is plausible. He comes up with all these things to try and cover his tracks, and none of it is plausible. Let me get this pop-up off here. I wanna see what Kat's saying. Paul allegedly loved the housekeeper and would never hurt her. Well, maybe Buster did. Who knows? Who knows? I want the exhumation to happen and to get the results on how she died. But this case has just oh my god, I was gonna say blown me away. Really, I mean, appropriate while not being appropriate. To kill your own wife and son for money. And I wonder I really wanna know what was the final straw because somebody confronted him at the, at work about the money. That's what they're saying happened, but that again is just people guessing. We can't know motive unless he tells us his motive. How many people has he ripped off? And how many people have died? Really is a tragic story. And I shared Kathleen Zellner has been tweeting about this case, and I was really pleased to see today when she tweeted, she mentioned Melissa Kaluzinski. Oh, I should go on my email because I haven't read it yet. Melissa, I got an email from Melissa again today after because I emailed her back and let her know that Kathleen tweeted about her. And you never know with sorry. Mm, it's, um the prison, it's weird of when you get the emails and how long it can take. All right. It's saying Melissa sent me 2 emails. Da, 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 da. I told her about the Alex Murdaugh case, and she said, "Wow, yeah, I'm not so sure on this Alex Murdaugh case. Just 3 hours crazy. It's just nonsense out there and what people do to convict innocent people like myself." She said she recently talked with Kathleen. It was nice and made me happy. Yay. Um, okay, nothing else on that. Let me go to, because see, I got 2 emails from her today. One came at 12:15 and one 12:26. Oh, okay. All right. I know why it's two emails. Okay. But so I let her know today. That's wild that I got emails back from her right away in same day because it's been taking like 4 days. But I let her know that Kathleen, included her name in her tweet today. So it's nice to know that Melissa, you know, is not forgotten. I'm not saying Kathleen has forgotten about Melissa. I'm saying that her name gets out there for Kathleen to mention Melissa's name instantly brings attention to Melissa of people wanting to know who Melissa is. So, and having more eyes on the case is great. So I was so pleased to see that today. And Kathleen's tweets have been, she believes that Alex is guilty and that they got this one right. But her other cases, Stephen and Melissa in Shadwick, those are people who are innocent. I don't know much or anything on the Shadwick case, but I know Stephen and Melissa are innocent. Mm-mm. Cupcake, no court updates on Melissa. Nothing. Just waiting. I don't get what we're waiting for. I get so confused in all these court cases. I don't know what we're waiting for on Melissa. But let me tell you this. So, the state's attorney for both Melissa and Marnie's case is somebody, so he was not state's attorney back when these people when they were convicted. He was just elected. I think his term is come gonna be up soon, and he's in his first term. Um, so he's somebody who I knew before he was elected due to my work in politics. And I'm Facebook friends with him and was Facebook friends with him before he was the state's attorney. And now yesterday he sent me an invite to go to some event he's having. Here, can I find it on my Facebook? Um, I didn't really look into it what it was, but it's like, "Oh, that's weird." Because with him being my Facebook friend and me sharing things on Melissa and, oh, why isn't it in there? Oh, I have to look at interested. Um, he sees the posts that I make on them, so he knows I'm with both those cases. Okay, what is this? Diversion and deflection, harm reduction. Join us for our ongoing series of diversion and deflection in Lake County. The topic for this event will be harm reduction, the importance of a holistic approach to substance use disorder. I don't know, but I just found it interesting that the state's attorney invited me to that. Um, Cupcake grew up in Illinois. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, we get that a lot of people who start here in Illinois, and there's 2 kinds of people, either you're gonna move where it's warm or you go north. Um, and I used to spend my summers in Wisconsin when I was a kid, going up to Hayward. Um, Marnie Yang has a court date at the end of the month. Can't remember the date on it. And I also will be doing a live probably next week on Marnie's case because on so with the Marnie Yang case, I run the website for the family. My husband and I do freemarnieyang.com. And in there, there's a section called In Their Own Words. Oh, truth, that does make me sad to hear that Buster allegedly collapsed and cried outside of court. I mean, I'm not a complete animal. Um, but also if Buster killed a guy for being gay, then I can't have any sympathy. Um, hmm. Um, so on the Marnie Yang website, in their own words, they've got a whole lot of raw footage of interviewing the different people involved in on Marnie's legal team. And so my husband's been editing it together and we've been posting the videos. So right now we have because he did Fartoon's video first. Fartoon is one of Marnie's daughter Emily, or is Marnie's daughter Emily's best friend, and is a daughter to Marnie, who was there the day the cops busted into the home and all of that. So Fartoon's interview is up, and then is Jed Stone, Marnie's attorney, and then Steve Lapino, who is the lead investigator for the uh, private detective service that's on the case. And there's a bunch more to be done. And so I'm going to do a live where either just expect you to go watch those, or I'll play with this and try and figure out I don't know technical stuff how I could share my screen and play their interviews and pause them and talk as we go. So you'll have to stay tuned to the Justice with Jax Facebook page for when we schedule the event, because my job is very not set days and times. I get to pick when I go, but I it's still unknown. So today I got to work from home, so that's why I was able to schedule this. But then I'm also leaving in an hour, so it's like I have a little window that I could go live. Cupcake says, I feel for Buster. His whole family is gone, but yes, agree if he did do that. Yeah. So back to the Murdaugh case. He's guilty. He was found guilty. He was sentenced to 2 life sentences. So he will never go free. Um, I also agree with not going for the death penalty because this is a guy who hired somebody to kill him. So he thinks death is the better option. So make him suffer in prison. My opinion. I'm not I used to be pro death penalty. Stephen Avery's case is what really opened my eyes that y- you never it's hard to know for sure if somebody is guilty, because when you have corrupt law enforcement and lab techs you know, science can be faked, like sweat DNA that doesn't exist. Yeah, I agree with you, Cupcake. He's going to prison for the money. So either way, he was not going to be a free man. But in the money cases, he could possibly, get out in 20 years where now he's not going to be a free man ever again. I do think it's possible he'll end up dead since he did try to have someone kill him. So, and somebody who's lived such a life of privilege, how is he going to survive, right, in state prison, not camp fed? And I know from Melissa and Marnie, jail is worse than prison. Kennel video got him in the end. Absolutely. So you're able to find out right from that you lied. You were there. You were there when your son had his brain literally blown out. How I'm sure they said it in the trial, but how far away, how long does it take you to go from the kennel to the house? And he's not walking, so I don't know if it was his truck or a golf cart, but still 10 minutes, right? It's within 10 minutes. So there's a good chance if you had left there and are just going back to the house, you're not even in the house yet when these people are shot. So there's no way that s- and that see, he doesn't make any sense. It's just his story's not viable. Couple of minutes between house and kennels. Thank you. Um, he was there. I don't care what time he was at his mom's house, hiding the tarp and whatever was in the tarp, changing his clothes, all of that. That video shows that he was there within 10 minutes of when those people's movement stopped. S- Okay, it sounded like my husband was pulling him, but it's not. I don't think. Yeah, can't rationalize, so not murderers. Paul was a problem because of those lawsuits were all due to him killing Mallory Beach. And, because maybe he didn't in plan on killing his wife. Um, Maybe she was collateral damage, but when you're getting sued because of Paul's actions, and then Paul ends up murdered, that you will then try to make it look like Paul's was murdered by people pissed because he killed Mallory. So Paul could have maybe seen that as his way out of not having to pay on that suit. But yes, and that's what Small's saying, but he lured Maggie there that night. She wasn't there and didn't wanna be there, and he asked her to come and have dinner with him and Paul. And if she's, one of the Debs, I knew that name was familiar. Um, if she was divorcing him, the house was in her name. Was Maggie named in the suit from the Beach family, or was it just Paul? So, Maggie needed to go for him to get his hands on all the stuff that he hid in her name, and if she was leaving him anyway, then what does he care if she's alive or dead? Ah, that would make sense, Debbie. And Maggie wanted to settle. Yeah, if you're rich and your son, and in that case, that's not your son killed a guy for being gay. That's he was driving drunk, and the people who knew he was drunk and still get on the boat. So that's also their negligence that they got on a boat knowing a guy's gonna drive it who's drunk. Um, but your son is responsible whether or not he did it maliciously or not. So I would just wanna settle that too. Ah, interesting, Canadian. Maggie and Paul were not named in the lawsuit from the Beach family. They are waiting to see how the criminal case ended. The lawyer for the Beaches said they would sue them after the criminal case. What is there? Well, I'm sure they've squirreled things away. Whole family never accountable for anything. I mean, and they've got 3 houses that I've heard of. Maybe there's more, and 2 are on private islands. Do they own the whole islands? I mean, what all possibly is there up for grabs now? And how much is it gonna be divided by? You know, depending on what gets determined in all these cases. Stephen Smith, the housekeeper, Mallory. Debbie says, "No consequences. Randolph always sorted things." And now and he did die, right? He died right around this time? Yeah, Kat, what I had seen them say is they had 2 beach houses, but all right there in that area. He died June 10th, 2021. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I felt really bad, when the caretaker testified. She was scared. That's how it felt to me. Um, she was saying the truth, and it was things that could hurt her in that community going against the Murdaugh family. Is that her name? The caretaker for Alex's mother, um, who saw the blue tarp, that woman who saw him with the blue tarp. She just she looked scared, and with so many people being killed and him and Alec hiring people to kill people, so just because he's in prison doesn't mean he can't still get somebody to do something, and Buster's still out there. Who is she the one that Buster gave the finger to? Um, but I really felt for her, and, that she had to fear for her safety. Andrea says, "I was so sad that there were no witness statements at the sentencing today in support of Maggie and Paul." Yeah, I was like, I wasn't sure if I had just missed it because I don't know what I was watching, and then all of a sudden there it was, and the judge was in mid-sentence, so it's like, "Oh, did I miss the witness statements?" Because then the judge was also saying something about, um, "Oh, what a web we weave when we at first practice to deceive," or whatever that line was. So I'm like, "So did somebody say this? Was that, uh" and then it was like, "Did Alex say that? So now did Alec already speak and I missed it?" Um, oh, Buster gave the finger to the Beach's lawyers. Ugh, gross. Um, felt for the son of the other woman that died in Alex I yeah, and I believe she's got 2 children and one of them is developmentally disabled, so you need that money to take care of that. I'm assuming the child is an adult, but still they need to be taken care of, and he took all that money. Yes, Gloria. Yeah, Debbie. Michelle called her brother because she felt so uncomfortable. Ah, Alex said the web comment when he testified, but he's the deceiver. He's the one spinning a web of lies. And what is something that I always say in the Stephen Avery case? I know everything always comes back to Stephen. Stephen has said the same thing consistently since Halloween of 2005. Same thing. Why? Because it's the truth. And since it happened, it's easy to remember. But when you lie and it didn't happen, you don't have that memory in your brain. And then it's hard to remember what it is that you said happened. What's the lie that you came up with? That's how you know one of the reasons you know that Stephen is innocent. His story has never changed. Other than he wasn't sure if he had a fire that night. On what night did he have a fire? Which when you don't have garbage service and you're regularly burning stuff, you don't know for sure what day you had a fire. So that doesn't mean squat to me. Alex lies and lies and lies. I mean, his job is lying. Lawyers lie. That kind of lawyer lies. Ken Kratz lies. The judge was awesome, Debbie. Yeah, I liked the judge. Before the trial started, you kept getting an image of a golf cart. Golf cart has something to do with this crime. Oh, so how in the world can Alex not remember word for word his last conversation with his wife and son? My cousin died unexpectedly in July. I'm so sorry. And I remember every moment of the last time I saw him. Right. Especially when it happens so fast. It's not like um a cousin of mine that I haven't seen in 5 years just died, and I can't remember what our last conversation was. This is something that just literally happened, and your family is murdered in this horrible way in the spot that you were at, because we have seen the video. Went to the same school of lying. Sweaty sweat school of lying. The Netflix documentary, if you haven't watched it yet on the Murdaugh case, I do recommend it. It I found it very interesting to hear from the kids that were on the boat. And so that's the thing too, when people are saying that possibly somebody affiliated with that is who killed them, you see Mallory's boyfriend still defending Paul to an extent. Um that that's his friend. So, that one was good, and then there's one on the case on HBO, I think it is? HBO Max, whatever, I think. Um, so watch both of those, and then this weekend, 2020 and Dateline are having shows on the case. So I have my DVR set to record all of the Datelines and 2020, so set those up to record tonight and tomorrow, and then I'm sure we'll do another video at some point talking about this case because there will be more to talk about. Absolutely. The next one next week, like I said, we'll be talking about the Marnie Yang case. Don't know yet on day and time, but I'm planning on I figured we would either play or you need to watch the Jed Stone video. Let me pull up freemarneyang.com in their own words. I don't know if it'll let me. So here's the in their own words section. Oh, yeah, I have watched some stuff on the Idaho case. Um, we can get into that at some point. Um, so there's in their own words, Judd Stone. I've, so the Judd Stone video is now an hour and 12 minutes after Jeff edited that down. Senior investigator. Um, Steve Lapino is 36 minutes. Fartoon's only, 7 minutes. Um, but I figured we would go over Jed Stone first in covering the Marnie Yang case. And that's one that I know most people who haven't really torn into the case just automatically think Marnie is guilty. And I can tell you she is innocent. I've seen the evidence. Um yeah, so are there I have to look into the Idaho case on episodes to watch that we can have people watch that and then do a video. But I got to do the Marnie case next because we also have court later this month. So, and hoping we're going to be getting a new trial for Marnie. So, we'll go over this video from Jed Stone and you can ask me whatever you like about the Marnie Ing case. So I'm going to wrap this up since we've been on for an hour. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. I do, again, believe Alex is guilty. We'll talk about that again at some point. Got to do a plug because Christopher would um, bitch at me if I don't. So I wrote my book, Wrongfully Abused, that is available on Amazon. And there's hardcover and there's paperback and there's um the ebook. So, and that is on my experience in advocating for the Stephen Avery case. So, and then here on this YouTube channel, we've got all these different files in here for all the different videos we've done. So you can deep dive into all of these and hear me talk about other cases. So, thank you, everybody. I'm going to go. I'm meeting my family for dinner tonight, and my son is going to meet us too. So, I get to have a nice family time for dinner. We were supposed to be hit with some big storm today, snowstorm today, that it's now 5 p.m. and still hasn't snowed here. So, I'm going to say it's safe to to drive tonight. Yes, rest in peace, Maggie and Paul. And as always, investigation continues.